Yes, sir. Senator, what do you think is the chances that Governor Scott is going to approve this request, in part because it seems in a way that this issue is delving into partisanship, as only Democrats attended the meeting this afternoon?
I think when it's all said and done with, you will see that this is an issue that's embraced. Partisanship has nothing to do with it. Look at all the businesses, large businesses and small businesses in Florida that see how we can remake our transportation system. Look at all the jobs at stake and how many people are hurting. And a lost job is not a Republican matter or a Democratic matter.
Can I add something to that? Because you just need to know that the city councils that come to see me throughout Central Florida, I don't know whether it's any Democrats. It doesn't have anything to do with it. It's Democrat, Republican, but this is a project that we've been working on for over 30 years. It started with Bob Graham. In 1980, I served on a commission for high-speed rail. And we've been working on this through ups and downs for over 30 years. The people of Florida deserve better than this.
Senator, or anyone who wants to feel this, as you know, Governor Scott's concerns go beyond the 280 million that would be left to pick up. He's talking about ridership. He's doubting that people will ride this thing. He's also doubting that the state wouldn't be on the hook for billions more down the road.
Listen, clearly, all of the governor's issues was addressed. And let's be clear, the federal government has already told the governor that we're talking about not 30 years, 20 years, but the way the contract is written, whoever the entity, we have 8 different companies that want to take a part. They have agreed to take the risk. So that is not the issue.
But had they agreed to take the risk in the long run, not the money that's left to do the project, but in the long run?
Alex, that's what we addressed, that this entity would take not only the construction risk, it would take the operational risk as well.
Is it realistic to think that you can raise $280 million in the next week?
No, we already have. That is not an issue, sir. I keep telling you, we have over 8 companies that want to be partners. Let me just mention one. I'm talking to the Chinese. I say, I understand that you all have 300 billion. They said, no, Congresswoman, we got 350 billion. We're going to high speed and we want to be partners. People, companies, 8 different companies that have already agreed to take the risk. So that's not the issue on the table.
Let me try to clarify a little bit. Remember that what the next step was at the state of Florida was to put those bid documents out. And then we would have all of those consortiums, could be 8, I heard maybe up to 12, that were willing to go forward, and address those issues of ridership and risk and covering the gap in the public-private partnership that Chairman Micah has been such a force behind. But now we won't know, we won't have any idea because of what Governor Scott did yesterday. But now we have hope. People across the state have hope that maybe they will get a job, that those engineering firms can get work, the construction firms can get work. But Chairman Micah's here just to answer your question about bipartisanship directly.
Let me just add that another study have been completed as far as the ridership is concerned. The federal government paid for it, the state have it. Ask them to release the latest study. The latest studies show that it's a 15% increase in the ridership. Mr. Micah, Chairman of Transportation.
Let me just briefly bring you up to date.
I think they did. They gave us a week to look for an entity.
Sub-grantee that would take all of the financial risk, both construction risk and operational risk. So that's what the lawyers are working on. Come on in.
Well, that's what I'd heard, and I appreciate my colleagues across the state interest in this. The cart's in a ditch right now, and we got to figure out a way if we could all pull it out together. I read the governor's comments, and I talked to him yesterday morning before he announced his decision, and I'm very disappointed that he didn't give us, well, at least better warning, one, and two, that we didn't have the opportunity to see what the private sector could offer. We worked real hard together to get this project up to 90% funding, which is almost unprecedented. And I believe that the private sector could have come in, and there would be no risk to the state of Florida. There would be no future obligation to the taxpayers. And we are now in a position where, again, through the good graces of the Secretary, we have a week to look at some options. I've got our staff, committee staff, fully engaged, the legal folks and others, to see, again, what entity could take this. I believe most of it's in Orange County. We're looking at all of the at least an initial phase of the operation. If it was segmented, I know he has concerns about the second segment. I would like to do the whole thing, but I would like to look at anything that we can do to make the project a reality. If I didn't believe it was cost effective at this point, I wouldn't be here.
1 week, 1 week is a very small window. How are you going to get this done in 1 week?
It's a bipartisan.
Well, again, we have the ability of the senator's staff. Ms. Brown is the former chair of the Rail Subcommittee and now the ranking member. I've got a lot of folks that can look at this. We'll look at our options, and then we have to be very candid in what we do. Again, I think a lot of people were caught by surprise. I saw Senator LaValla's comments. He just met with the governor. I had just talked to him before. So we're all taken aback by it, and we will do our best to see if there is a positive alternative. Senators providing leadership. The other thing, too, is we'll look at language in various pieces of legislation to see if we have problems in doing it now. There's a lot of things floating around that we can look at to give us some additional options. But I can't go into those today. It's bad enough when politicians talk and they don't know what they're talking about, let alone not having facts and being able to substantiate their possible ideas.
Do you think this?
One of
Do you
the
think?
main things is that we have the commitment and the willingness of the Secretary of Transportation to try to make this happen.
Chairman, do you think this is? Do you think what Governor Scott did was a political, partisan move?
I have no idea, quite frankly. I was taken aback. I had about 15-20 minutes to argue my points, and I had every indication prior to that he would go forward and review private sector offers that could hold again the possibility, and I think a very definite possibility, of no risk to the taxpayers, no additional cost to the state of Florida, and a route that could be profitable. I just came over to lend my quick support.
John, I'm down to 2 minutes to
Okay,
go. So
you go ahead, and I've got to go back. I just left